ladies and gentlemen, what is happening with Bitcoin, where we stand, and what is next. Now, this is the current range where we are right now. So we do have this range being formed on Bitcoin. That's the range. We pretty much saw a rejection of the value area high. If we take the low here, value area high, most likely we're gonna come back down into the point of control, and we're just gonna rotate into this mini range. That's on the micro side of things. Let me just delete this for a second. What's next? Now, on high time frame picture, I want to speak more about this. In terms of macro perspectives and spot trading, all the information which I'm sharing, because I've been into financial markets for half a decade. I've seen it all. I've seen your favorite traders turn into influencers, shield coins, do this, do that, pretty much backstab their audience, which I do not intend to do so. That's why I have created my private network. If you want to join that, feel free to do so. Let me just show you a bit of information what exactly we're gonna get if you join. Now, for the past few months, the spot trading, I just gave an example with the spot trading because it's the easiest. I have pretty much, for the past 30 days, I've also bypassed 10 million volume on my first account. And everything that I learned for the past half a decade, I've intended to share with people. If you want to do that, you can join the network. Pretty much the examples of the spot trading, they're gonna be the following. Coinbase, currently we're sitting about 4x of the investment. Pepe, we're sitting shy of 15x of the investment. RNDR, FTM currently sitting about $1, 5x. So if you wanna receive my personal daily report cards in terms of intraday perspective, the weekly plans and visions of the market, alerts with detailed explanations, spot trading, educational content, you can feel free to join the Discord networking private section, right? That's 50% off right now. If you want to do that, feel free to do so. Now, you want to be a bit cautious with Bitcoin on a high time frame. Now, first of all, we have hit a major pivot in terms of a technical level, the pitchfork high, which is a very, very important level. Everybody's being way too bullish right now. We're sitting at an all-time high. Everybody's expecting the 100k prices, etc., etc. We have also hit a majorly time pivot, so you want to be very, very careful with that. So keep that in mind. Now, what is possible and what could happen next, right? In terms of fundamentals, we're seeing currently long-term holders transferring their own tokens to the short-term holders. So we're seeing a transfer right now happening. The ETF inflows, they have started going down. Even when they were up, we were seeing Grayscale selling and then the BlackRock buying. So this means pretty much they didn't have much of an effect, right? They could have an effect on the long term, but such short-term price action about a few weeks won't affect that much price. The next thing in terms of quarterly theory, because I believe in quarterly theory and the way things work, especially in crypto in cycles. Yes, you do have the 4-year cycles, but I do not put a lot of pressure on that. Why? First of all, the previous 4-year cycles, they're not the same as this one. First of all, you do have a all-time high before the halving, which has never happened. Usually after the halving, you have these huge runs. In my opinion, you're gonna have a move down on Bitcoin. Why? Because of the quarterly theory, because it's being more accurate. Quarterly theory suggests at the moment. There's whole videos by other people which can explain to the quarterly theory, but I believe it's extremely accurate for cyclic assets such as Bitcoin. At the moment, in my personal opinion, Q2 is gonna be an accumulation period, and then Q2 is gonna be a manipulation period, and Q4 is gonna be a distribution period. So the way things work, pretty much they work this way, right? I'm gonna show you the elliott wave counts, which perfectly coincides with that. I don't know if you're gonna have another top here and then move back down. I don't know that. I'm not sure. I can't tell. But what I can tell is that at the moment we have completed wave 1 and wave 2. At the moment, I don't know if you have completed wave 3. You're gonna have another high and then move back down for the 4. I don't know. But this is my current elliott wave count, and I do believe that Q2 and Q3 you can accumulate some assets, and then in Q4 you can distribute them. About the end of Q4, beginning of Q1, you can just sell whatever you accumulated. That's about Bitcoin in terms of a macro perspective. Now let's jump into the levels which I'm monitoring. Now, first of all, let me just show you another thing with the macro, right? If you look at the deviation bands, clearly held the bottom. Maybe it will held the top here as well. If you just view this as a range, you know how we trade ranges. that's just a very vague show. So yeah, here we did one, maybe you can here do the other one, then I come back into the 50% of the range, but whatever. My personal opinion is that you do not chase pumps, especially if something has been in an uptrend for 400 days. We have had this uptrend for about more than 400 days, but the time where it actually turned bullish was over here. So from here to here, 390 days. 390 days, this is where usually a correction takes place. On Bitcoin, you can look this up every single time, about 380, 390 days. I do believe we're way too forward in this cycle when we're due to a sell-off. Where the sell-off is gonna stop, in my opinion. And also keep in mind that it's absolutely possible just to take this high and then move back down. If you look at the monthly chart, so yeah, you do create a high, a bullish candle, then the next month takes it off, and then you have the correction. High, takes it off, you have a correction. High, takes it off, you have a correction. And then every time the correction pretty much comes back down into a previous fair value gap. So here you can see you have a fair value gap down here. Then the fair value gap is somewhere around these levels. And then yes, you do have one down here, but this is way too low in my opinion. But overall, this is the fair value gap which I'm monitoring to get filled at some point in time. Now, in terms of technicals, what else? Right, what else? The key levels which I'm monitoring, if you do start falling back down, the first important area which I'm gonna be monitoring is gonna be the 56k level, which is the big range value area high. And then if you do lose that, I do suggest you come back down into 51k. And then if you lose 51, I do suggest you come back down into the range lows at 42k. Now, in terms of anchored VWAPs, you have, when the expenditure started, you have the anchored VWAP which coming right here. And if price continues just hovering around these levels, the anchored VWAP is gonna continue moving up, and by May it's gonna be around these levels. So this is gonna be a signifying strong support in my opinion, which is also the golden pocket from that low to that high. So yeah, if price do come down into these levels, it's gonna be a very important area to hold. If this gets lost, then it's gonna get very bearish quickly. A lot of people talking about digital gold rush and being way too bullish right now. In my opinion, we should come back down and test these levels. A lot of people talking about that all-time high, but yeah, we can do another all-time high and then come back down just to wreck the most amount of people. But the way the markets work is that there's mini cycles, as I said, 380, 400 days, and then there's correction cycles with about 100, 200 days. So I do suggest Q2, Q3 be accumulation manipulation period, where the accumulation or manipulation period can happen. Yes, it can happen here, yes, it can happen here, or it can happen in the overall section here, and you can create a bigger range, and this could be just the range. Absolutely possible. I would not neglect this, but this is not the place to buy spot Bitcoin. Even if you're bullish and you're expecting the 100k price point, which everybody expects, I don't know, is this a good risk reward? 70 to 100, 38%, where you can have a downside with about 40%. So you have to be very careful with whatever you're doing. At the moment, if Bitcoin loses the weekly open at 67k, it's gonna get ugly. At the moment, we have I showed you just here the range. So yeah, if we do lose this weekly and we do lose the weekly open, which coincides with the point control, things can turn around very quickly. We can quickly get down below these two lows, but also things can get defended. You can defend the weekly open, then you can go for that all-time high. Is it possible? Yes. And then to have that dump down lower, yes. But my personal opinion is that you have to be very careful with whatever you're doing on your whatever you're doing with your money, right? Because your money is your money, and you have to be very careful what you do with them. So I do not suggest you buy Bitcoin at 69k. I do suggest you can buy back lower. That's my personal opinion. So stay vigilant, stay wise. If you want to join my personal private network, feel free to do so. I wish you a wonderful day. Cheers.